You're ugly. You're disgusting. I'm going to you. Give me $200.
Yeah.
In this disturbing and infuriating episode, we're going to talk about a romance scam, of course, mental health, and how a family bond can be immediately severed due to poor decision making. In today's episode, we're talking about a defenseless woman, in my opinion, that got bamboozled in those you just want a prize type of scam. But her life was eyebrow raising, at least ever since her teenage years. It seems like everyone used her as they pleased. And the one time she got to try to start her life over, she lost her son. He won't speak to her, won't see her, and to be honest, it's completely understandable. But before we begin, how about you subscribe to the channel? We talk about catfishes, romance scammers, and we also read some Reddit stories. This is Carrie. She likes the outdoors, seems like she's very social, and loves to drive.
We met when I was 15 and he was 23. He loved to cook. He was also a professional clown.
I bet he was. He had to be a clown to mingle with a teenager while being a grown-ass adult. And let's address the elephant in the room. Maybe Carrie has a speech impediment. Could be. Or she has something else. That, paired with the decisions she made later on, I'm inclining on the latter. The husband died in 2021, leaving Carrie to scratch with her own nails because she realized she doesn't know herself. It took her husband to die to find out she has been living her life catering to someone else. So she's trying to find herself while having a child and now returning to the workspace. Carrie was on Facebook and noticed she got a message from a rando telling her she won a prize. We all have gotten that one. You just sigh and move on with your life. She did the same. Well, she did tell them off, which made this Virginia person to respond with the reverse Karen. The manager wants to talk to you. The number of times social catfish shows this man shirtless is obscene. I'm not gonna do that to you or myself. Carrie knows who Mark is, she knows how rich he is, she knows how powerful he is, and knows he is married, making the rest of the story really bizarre. Mark introduced himself to Carrie, and he was enticing her with money, and what would she be doing if she had $1 million?
A trust fund for my son. I would buy a small little house, maybe go on a vacation and donate some to a cancer foundation.
That sounds great, actually. She wanted her kid to have a secure future once she's no longer here. The problem was, 1. She was believing it all. 2. She didn't tell her family because she thought they were going to ridicule her and convince her not to do it. And 3. She started sending money to Mark Zuckerberg. You know, the guy she just told us he's super rich and powerful? That one.
The money and the car were in this kind of container, but in order to get it released, there had to be payment. What's $50 compared to $1 million?
And then she did something really stupid and dangerous. You see this message Mark sent her? This is a no, God! He also asked her for her bank information and the $500. But that was nothing compared to the $1 million and the car she's gonna get. Carrie was in desperate need for a future for her and her son. She was agreeing with everything she was told. Once again, Carrie needed to wait for Virginia to message her back to see when she will get the prize. Virginia hasn't talked to Carrie, and I have a sneaky suspicion it won't happen. But Mark's presence was still very much in Carrie's life.
Mark and Priscilla met. They got married one day before Facebook was ready to launch. She purposely got pregnant so she could hold on to him.
So essentially, she tied him with kids. I don't know if you see it, but Mark usually looks like a robot, but in pictures, when he's looking at his wife and kids, there's a warmth in his eyes. He's no longer a robot, he's just a man in love. That's adorable. But that's irrelevant to the story because he's not involved in this mess. But going back here, this very powerful man just opened to a random stranger about the troubles in his marriage. I don't know how many red flags there has been in this story so far. Way too many. I think Carrie was so excited about one problem almost solving itself, so she left the rest just to be.
He told me that he was in love with me. He wanted me to be his mistress or his second wife.
Mark told Carrie how he wanted to open another Facebook facility and be run by the two of them, and how he was so eager to be a stepdad to her son so he could have a job at Facebook. Beautiful dreams, minus the side piece scenario. Once Mark saw Carrie was reciprocating his advances, he told her about a life-altering decision he made. Mark talked to Priscilla, his wife, and told her about him not wanting to be in a marriage with her anymore. But things were not that easy for the lovebirds because Priscilla froze Mark's assets. He needed help. He needed money. Money Carrie doesn't have. Carrie did search about spouses freezing accounts during a divorce proceeding, and she believed it was actually happening, but I don't know if she really read all the articles because Mark started asking for money to eat. Why would a billionaire with multiple active jobs wouldn't have money for food and shelter? And then he needed money because he hired a lawyer that once he got paid, bailed. Carrie ended up sending Mark Zuckerberg $20,000.
I have seen Meta keycard, his driver's license. He is planning on coming here on October 2nd or 3rd.
He never appeared. He told Carrie he couldn't go because of the divorce and he needed more money. Carrie still believes she's speaking with Mark. She's probably willing to give him more money, and that's the problem. She is so focused on Mark that once she turned her gaze towards her real life, she was shocked to see her son not there anymore.
He won't talk to me. He won't see me. He won't respond to my text messages. In my son's eyes, I chose Mark over my son.
Carrie sent his personal information to a stranger. She accepted being a side piece for money and sent this stranger a big amount of cash. Cash she needs to survive. Everything she did was reckless, dangerous, and selfish. Here's something really creepy. Carrie talked to the social catfish team because even though she thinks she is talking to Mark, sees the red flags, but mostly is for them to help her convince her son to accept this new path she has taken with Mark. The problem is, 3 weeks passed and there was not a word from Carrie. She was supposed to send everything she had about this Mark account, but nothing. They finally got a hold of her and asked her what was up. Apparently, the scammer has her passwords, so every time the team will send her an email, the scammer will erase it.
Look at how much time and effort you're putting into each message, and look at the amount of words and effort he's putting into his messages.
There's more to it than that, Joe.
She is in full denial. Carrie just had to reread all the conversations she has with this Mark Zuckerberg to see she is the only one involved. Now that Carrie changed her passwords, she could send the information to the guys. So in 3 hours, they unraveled everything and were ready to show Carrie the findings.
So he's logging into your bank account, he's logging into your Facebook, your email, everything. Why would you give him access to all this stuff?
Maybe I'm too trusting.
That's an understatement.
Carrie assumed Mark was telling the truth because he was sending pictures and videos before he would upload them to his Instagram account. But I guess she forgot that there are other social media platforms, like Twitter. Every image she was sent, and so did the videos, come from Mark Zuckerberg's official Twitter account. Ultimately, the guys dropped bomb after bomb on Carrie, and well, she really fought for Mark to be real, mostly because she did pick him over her son. So now she is informed, she understands, and she is disturbed at the fact she has nobody now. But did she understand?
If you guys were to reach out to Mark, I would like to meet him, and I'm not asking him to lie. But if my son could see Mark and I together,
That's not gonna happen, Carrie.
She's still picking Mark over her son. She doesn't understand the real Mark has nothing to do with this. I think she's having the battle of her life against her ego. The team offered to record a message for her son because he doesn't want anything to do with Carrie, and they asked her to say everything she wanted to say.
you know, I don't say this easily. I never have. But I was wrong. I need to make this right. I need to make amends with you.
Interesting little piece of information Carrie told us. She said, "You know I don't say this easily. I never had, but I was wrong." Probably ego is a big part of her personality, and maybe this was one too many times for her son to let it slide. Her son hasn't reached out to her mom nor the team, which means he is very angry. What do you think about this story? I think there's more to this event. Carrie probably has done this before. Maybe not the romance scam thing, but has been gullible enough for her to fall for things and the family has to pick up the pieces. So maybe they're done. Giving your family member, especially an underage kid's personal information to a stranger is disturbingly wrong. And I might backtrack on my comment about her being defenseless. The more I understand her thought process, the more I remember the countless romance scam victims that fell for the "he's rich and will buy me everything I want" scam. Plus the fact that her family abandoned her because it wasn't only her son, but apparently her sister as well. It would be extremely callous for them to abandon someone struggling with a disability, right? So this is a big head scratch. Leave me your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, it really helps. I hope you had a wonderful day or night, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.
But it is going to bother you because you're human, and I was human. I am human, still. But